my first video on this channel, and we are going to start it out with a nice light-hearted story about taking drugs. So that being said, we're going to jump into it, and I will point out there's a few things to start off the video. Before taking this drug, and I use drug in air quotes, but we'll get into that, I'd never really taken anything other than weed or marijuana, whatever way you want to call it. I didn't really live that rock star lifestyle, and that was the strongest drug I'd ever taken, was weed, other than a shit ton of whiskey, if you want to call that a drug. I'd never really done much of that, and that was that. So we'll set the scene. We're in Amsterdam, and it was, I can't remember the exact date. I know it was in November because I was just after Climax. We went back to Amsterdam the day after Climax, or 2 days after Climax, and we decided that we were walking down the street and we seen the shop called the Head Shop, I believe it was called, somewhere in the middle of Amsterdam Central. And it was, we went in and we were looking about, and my friend, who had taken multiple forms of drugs in the past, no judgment here, he decided, he was like, do you want to try truffles? I didn't know what they were. I really didn't know. The only truffles that I'd ever heard of was the food truffles, and I was like, I'm not really in the mood for food. But we're in a drug shop, so that was obviously the drug kind. And what it is basically the soil that magic mushrooms grow in, but it still has all the ingredients and all the psychoactive substances that are in magic mushrooms. They're just in this soil form. Now, starting off, it's hardened soil, right? It tastes fucking disgusting. Like, it's so bad. It tastes rank as fuck, right? It is really bad. And it is insanely hard to chew. Insanely hard to chew. Right. So, we're going to give a wee story here. This is kind of a side story. Because this was my first time taking them, I didn't know exactly what to expect and how long it was going to take to kick in, how long it was going to last. My mate says, you want to do it? I was like, yep, fuck it, let's do it. The guy was talking to me in the shop because I told him I'd never taken it before. And he's like, this is what the blah blah. And I wasn't really listening. I was like, just give me the drugs. Give me the drugs. So we went back to our hotel, which wasn't really a hotel. It was more of it was kind of like a hybrid between a hotel and a hostel. So our bathrooms were outside of the bedroom, and we had taken it, and I was like, right, we are obviously going to go out because we're not just going to take truffles and sit in the hotel room. So we're going to go out, and I decided, I was like, right, now is the time. I need to have a shit. I'm going to go to the toilet. I'm going to get it out of me, and then the drugs are going to kick in. We're going to have a good time outside, and we'll see where the night takes us. Because you're in Amsterdam, you could pretty much get up to anything. Literally fucking anything. So I was about to go to the toilet, hear this alarm, and I was like, is that the drugs kicking in already? Because I heard this alarm, and I ignored it. A few seconds passed, it was still going. I was like, right, and I hadn't even started going to the toilet yet, so I pulled out my chargers and everything, went out, seen this flashing red light, and then went into the bedroom to see that my mate that I was with had taken a massive draw of his vape pen and blew it straight into the smoke alarm for whatever fucking reason. I don't know why he done it. The look on his face of pure shock and a wee bit of horror thrown in there was quite funny at the time. So we left. We blamed it on the builders because there was builders in fucking about with things, and we blamed it on them and left. And I didn't, like I said, I'd never taken this before, so I didn't know what to expect. I thought I was going to be seeing shit and fucking all that. Turns out that to start with, the first hour or so after taking it, it made me really, really tired. Like I was drained, and I had no reason to be drained because after Climax, all I did was basically lie about and sleep and eat. So there was no reason for me to be tired, and I started getting really tired. And mate was like, yeah, I'm feeling the same. And he got really tired. I was like, right, you know what it is? Let's go into McDonald's and get a coffee. This is where the fun begins. So we went in, and we were getting a coffee. I got a coffee. I was one of those iced coffees, and we were number 6 in the queue. This is relevant for a wee bit in the future, right? Number 6 in the queue. Our order number was 6, so we got, and I was sitting there, and it took me about 10 minutes to drink it. About 10 minutes after I finished drinking it, he asked me, he's like, right, do you want to go now? And I told him that I couldn't because I couldn't feel my legs. This is whenever it really started to hit me. I looked down, I could see my legs, I could touch them, I couldn't feel them, and I couldn't move them. And I was sitting there and I didn't know how to react to it. And then he started getting the effects of it, and he started tripping, but in different ways. He didn't really get the, oh, I'm semi-paralyzed from the waist down type of trip. But then that's whenever he started playing a game on his phone, and it was like word connect, and you have to connect these letters to make up words and stuff like that there. And I joined all the words together to spell out Yerma. That was it. Yerma. Yerma. And for about, I'd say about an hour, I was lying down on a bench in McDonald's in tears, laughing, to the point where I actually started to cry because my sides were that sore from laughing. Now I could tell from all around me, looking all around me, everybody's just looking at me, and they all had the same thought in mind: fucking tourists. Because we were tourists. But it was the weirdest sensation because I'd never experienced that. I'd never taken any psychoactive drugs or anything like that. And to be able to see my legs and not move them, but at the same time not give a shit that I couldn't move them, was probably the weirdest experience that I've ever had. Well, weirdest / normal experience. I've had some pretty fucking weird experiences that are out of the normal. But eventually we were able to get up and move, and as we were coming down the stairs and people were still staring at us and we were still laughing, I looked at the order number screen and it was 28. On a really slow day, it was 28. Now you're thinking, right, 6 to 28, 22 orders in between that's not that bad. No, it was a really slow day. Like, people are only getting served once every so often, and it went the whole way up to 100 and recircled back and went up to 28. Turns out that after 10 minutes of drinking my coffee, we sat there for another 2 hours and 20 minutes laughing. And it was, when that realization kicked in, it made me laugh even more, which then made him laugh even more. And we didn't know how to handle that. Like, because there was this voice in my head that I knew that wasn't there, but there was this voice in my head that just says, you want to laugh. That's all I could think about was, I want to laugh. I need to laugh. I'm going to laugh. And no matter what was said or what happened, I laughed. And I was like, right. And we'd taken the truffles at 5 o'clock in the evening. And they kicked in somewhere around 5:45, 6 o'clock. And later on that night, we're walking down the street, and we decided to get a bit of pizza from one of those pizza slice shops around the corner from the red light district. And there's us tripping off our face on truffles, dandering up the red light district, eating pizza in front of all of the ladies of the night, which they kind of give us a wee bit of dirty looks because we're just stuffing our faces with pizza right in front of them. But that's here nor there. We get home, or back to our room, and we get into bed because we had to be up relatively early the next morning for our flight back home. And we had to be up at about 7ish or so to do the slight bit of travelling to get to the airport. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to go to bed now. And he's like, good luck with that. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you want to go to bed, but your brain is going to stay awake. I was like, I couldn't still be in my brain right now. I could not still be under the effects of these drugs. And he's like, no, you will be. I was like, I won't. So I got everything packed up, and he's making me laugh while I'm packing up. So I'm in tears while I'm packing all my stuff. And there's no proper way to describe when you've got your head in your carry-on bag with tears tripping out of you because somebody mentioned the word leaks. Like, that's it. Leaks. That was all he said, was leaks, because he was playing that word game, and I had my head buried in my carry-on bag, crying, because for some reason that was just the funniest thing that I'd ever heard in my life. So we finally get into bed, we're lying down, and he's like, Matt. I was like, what? And he just went, leaks. That was it. Another hour. Another full hour of just laughing. By the time I got to sleep, it was probably about 3, half 3 in the morning. And it was just constant, just laughing. Honestly. I don't, this is going to sound mildly bad,